Live. We have a few people here
Great.
on the Zoom. So welcome to you guys here, and welcome if you're listening on Facebook too. If you have questions at any time, please drop them in the chat. I'll be monitoring the chat, which is why my eyes will be going everywhere, but know that I'm listening really intently to Kristen, because first of all, I could listen to Kristen talk all day. And secondly, she has some really great tips. We were chit-chatting before here, and I'm really excited for her to be able to share about LinkedIn. And the digital marketing of the tip of the week that I actually want to offer this week first is kind of tied in to what Kristen's going to be talking about. I'm not sure if you all feel sort of how I do, where we try to figure out where to spend our time on social. Should I be posting on Facebook? If I am, do I post on my personal, my business, my group? Do I go into groups? What do I post? You go into Facebook and it feels like, I don't know, maybe you guys feel this way too. Maybe you feel this way, Kristen, but I go into Facebook sometimes and it feels like everyone's saying, pay attention to me. No, pay attention to me. No, me, no, me. And I feel, unless I go in there with my strategy, which I have my strategy and it works, but if I'm going in there just to say, hey, I wonder what's happening, I truly feel pulled apart. LinkedIn, I was just having this conversation with Mike Verrett this morning. LinkedIn feels like it could be getting a little bit noisier. However, people are going to LinkedIn for the specific reason that they're looking to connect and do business, right? So I think that is the difference. Facebook is they're both great places to build relationships. But Facebook seems a lot more chit-chatty, and LinkedIn is like, we get it. We know we're all here to do business. Let's do some business. So the tip that I wanted to give this week, as far as digital marketing, you guys know that I love my spreadsheets and I love my lists. And so this is one technique that I work on with some of the clients when we just start working one-on-one and they don't know, they don't have a list, they don't know who to talk to, they don't know what to do, is if you guys haven't already, read The Referral of a Lifetime by Tim Templeton and Ken Blanchard. I love it. And if you do read it it's a super quick. Like you could read this, it's big print. You can read it really quickly. Don't take notes. Don't use Post-its. Don't highlight. Then go back and read it again. And now do the things. Take the notes, Post-its, highlight, whatever it is that you like to do. And one of my takeaways from this book that I wanted to share today was an exercise you can do to gain clarity. Again, I like lists, right? I like check off lists and I like sorting. And so make a list. I would suggest using Excel or a Google spreadsheet and go through your LinkedIn in particular and write down I think you can still export contacts, but you can't get their emails. So make an export of your contacts. Then go through, maybe it's your Facebook contacts, maybe it's any networking groups that you belong to, maybe it's the last networking meetings that you've gone to. Just make a big long list. This is if you're not already using a CRM, or even if you are, just it's crazy. Like you can make a list of how many people you know. So Tim Templeton will tell you that you really only need 100 people in your life, because those are going to be your amplifiers. So go through that list and this is what I did. Make a column A, B, and then you can. So my A's were people like Kristen and my Rise Together members and my accountability buddies, like people I knew would support me and amplify for me and collaborate with my A's, right? Like the B's were people who I've had experience with, who I knew would refer me. We just didn't have that depth of experience. We hadn't been in masterminds together. We hadn't really collaborated together, but I loved them. They loved me. I could see us working together. C's are people, yeah, kind of cool, kind of know them. And then I had a column that I was called X, and those, that would get a check mark if it were people that I was like, wait, who's that person? Like, if I don't remember them, they probably don't remember me. So your A's, so if you check off A's and then you check off B's and then you sort, you're going to get a wonderful list of who are your 100 top people. And then you can kind of dive into what Kristen's going to talk about with your profile and make sure that you're creating um, a way to communicate with people. Because now once your LinkedIn looks great and your messaging is great, now you can direct message these folks and explain to them what you're working on these days and how they can help you. So that is my LinkedIn digital marketing tip of the week. I can't wait to hear what Kristen's are. So I'm going to go ahead. And again, if you're on Facebook, give us a thumbs up. Let us know that you're there. Michelle, you get dry mouth too. That is so funny. I have all of my liquids here. Let us know you're here on Facebook. Go ahead and chat in the Zoom. I'll check that as soon as I'm done reading this. And I'm looking forward to a great session with my guest, Kristen Tagliamonte, who is the owner and president and everything of Empowered Results with KAT. She's an experienced, certified career transition and leadership development coach focused on helping mid-career professionals get unstuck in their work lives. When Kristen founded her company, it was after spending 30 years as an accomplished talent management and learning and development professional. She was helping to develop C-suite leaders and others in the financial services, professional services, higher education industries. She has, of course, as we all have at this point, had multiple transitions in our careers. And she decided that she was going to answer her inner calling to actively help other professionals pursue their own lifelong career and personal journeys. Her clients know that she has lived this type of transition personally several times. And because of this, her clients can feel empowered to approach their next move with energy, confidence, and enjoyment. When I asked Kristen, what is her superpower? She said it's curiosity, and in particular, curiosity to explore the what ifs in life. And Kristen, I'd love to start there. I'm so glad you're here, and I'd love to know more about your superpower.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me, Susan, and thank you for that lovely introduction. And I also just want to say really quickly, you turned me on to Referral of a Lifetime about 2 years ago. And I just want to reiterate, super quick read, very easy to implement tips. It's a game changer. So absolutely. Okay, so my superpower, curiosity to explore the what ifs in life. I mean, so there's nothing like, you know, who wants to get to their end of their life and have regrets, right? About, well, what if I had done this? What if I had done that? Or what if I didn't do this? What if I didn't do that? So, while we're living, let's explore those what ifs. And in my case, with my clients, it's about the what if I had this career that I'm super excited about, right? That really leverages not only my talents and my skills, but my passions. So yes, that's where my superpower comes from. And anybody who knows me knows I could talk forever and ever. So I'm going to be a little bit challenged today to talk about LinkedIn, but I'm going to do it. And that might mean that I'm talking pretty fast, but Susan certainly let me know if people have questions as we go. I love talking about this topic. It is amazing. Sometimes to me, I've helped hundreds of people with their LinkedIn profile. And I guess as a user since its inception in 2004, I just assumed everybody knows what I know about LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. And of course they don't. And that's okay. Why would they? So I'm gonna try to keep it short. I also recognize, Susan, that your audience, primarily solopreneurs, small business owners. In full disclosure, my focus on LinkedIn profiles is more around the people either in a career transition or considering one, but the concepts are applicable to everybody. So I'm going to talk about who should have a profile and talk about, is LinkedIn the right platform for you? Because it's not necessarily right for everybody. And then I'm going to give you a couple of tips on enhancing your profile, because the whole idea with your profile is you want to be visible. You want the people who you want to find you to be able to find you and to find you easily. So that's a scoop. And I think we can dig right in. So I do want to give just a couple of statistics because I think this is important in terms of scope. So as of a couple months ago, there were over 700 million users on LinkedIn, and they come from over 200 countries. So it's a very global platform. And actually, it's interesting. Asia Pacific has the most number of users, but the US is not far behind. 3 people are hired every minute based on some connection to LinkedIn. 80% of business to business leads have some connection to LinkedIn. So if you want to think about, does LinkedIn really make a difference? Boom, there you go, right? So in terms of the who should have a profile, generally speaking, I bucket into five buckets. One is the initial reason that LinkedIn got launched, facilitating networking, connecting with people who either are already in your network or you want to network with, finding people finding you to network with. Now, to be clear, I said facilitating networking. Some people I know who are like, I don't want to be at LinkedIn. I like talking to people when I network. LinkedIn doesn't replace the relationship building and the conversation, but it facilitates making those connections. So network facilitation. Reason number 2, thought leadership, both giving and receiving thought leadership on any number of professional topics. It's a great place to go to get ideas, to know what people are up to see reports, to see what's going on in different industries. So thought leadership. The third one is really around gaining visibility to potential employers, gaining visibility to potential clients, gaining visibility to potential new networking contacts. So your profile is what's going to increase that visibility. Again, I'm going to talk about some top tips on that before we finish up. Number 4, lead generation. Okay, so this is where small business owners can come in. So from a marketing perspective, LinkedIn can help with lead generation because you're increasing your visibility, the awareness of what you do. From a search engine optimization standpoint, it's amazing. If you Google yourself, chances are your LinkedIn profile is going to come up in the top 1 to 3 Google slots. So people finding you generate leads for your business. And last but not least is people who are in the midst of a job search or a job change. It's a great tool for that. So that's the who. Is LinkedIn the right platform for you? So that's a question only you can answer, but I will tell you, it all comes down to who's the audience that you're trying to reach, whether you're a small business owner, whether you're a job candidate, whether you're just a professional who wants to network, who's the audience that you want to reach? It's just like any social media. Susan, you were talking about Facebook. There's nothing wrong with Facebook, right? But the way people use Facebook is very different from the way people use LinkedIn. Nobody's posting their dinner on LinkedIn. So who's your audience? And that is, I'm just going to refer to my notes because I did pull up some statistics on who is already on LinkedIn, because I think that this is very telling as people consider this. So this data is just about a year old. So I'm sure this is going to be increased newer data are coming out soon, and it's be interesting to see what the pandemic did this, but still I think it's still very relevant. So from a gender perspective, it's pretty much split down the middle with a slightly more men than women on LinkedIn, but pretty much a 50-50. 59.9% of users are between the ages of 25 and 34. Another 19.9% are over 35 years old. So that's like 80% of the people are age 25 and above. But the age 35 plus is about 20%. So think about that. And then primarily educated people with a higher education earning $75,000 or more. That's about 49% of the population. industries. What are the top 10 industries of people, who have profiles on LinkedIn? I'm not going to mention all 10, but I'm going to talk about some of the top ones. Professional services and consulting, financial services, biotech and pharma, technology is a big one. Retail is actually big, which honestly is a little surprising to me. And higher ed. There are others, but those are, so, in some ways, it's still sort of the more traditional business in industries that are on LinkedIn. But again, things are evolving all the time, as they are with any social media. So consider all of that information that I just gave you and come back to that question about, what am I using LinkedIn for? I told you those 5, top reasons to use it. And is my intended audience, do they fall into that, those statistics, those particular categories? So just a little bit, again, I can't answer the question for you without having a more in-depth discussion one-on-one with people. But those are the things to think about.
But there doesn't seem like there would be a downside to at least having your profile up on LinkedIn.
I'm so glad you said that.
Right?
I'm so glad you said that, Susan. It's so true. I talked with somebody recently small business owner, who was kind of going back and forth, and I don't know, should I? And, we were taking a look at her profile, and I said that same exact thing. I said, what's the harm? Right? See what happens. Take some of these tips. Let's enhance your profile. Let's see what happens with your visibility. And then you can decide if it's somewhere you want to be or not. And maybe you want to be there, but you don't want to live there.
Right.
It doesn't mean, so, okay, I'll just use myself as an example. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn. I spend most of my time on LinkedIn. Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay. But it doesn't mean I'm not in these other places. It's, where do I live?
Right.
Based on what am I trying to get out of my participation? So that's a great point.
Well, I think it's important, as you mentioned, to know what you're doing there, right? So Facebook, I feel, is more social. When I'm on Facebook, I have my strategies, right? I have a list growth strategy. I have a grow my group strategy. I'm trying to grow my public group to funnel people into my paid mastermind group. That is my strategy on Facebook. And so I put the time for that. LinkedIn is where I'm having some of the most interesting conversations. And I've met these people who, by following them, having a personal conversation with them, we found ways to collaborate in creating future programs together, and we have found ways to amplify each other. So I have created this, a different network of people with, I'm not trying to sell to them. They're not trying to sell to me. We are all trying to rise above the noise together, right? We've tied our boats together to rise.
Absolutely. And I don't know, but some of these people you may not have connected with if it weren't for
absolutely.
LinkedIn, right? So yes, agreed. And it gets back to the thought leadership, that who should have a profile. You're talking about things that you've learned. And so thought leadership is I think, an often forgotten piece of the value of LinkedIn. So thanks for mentioning that. So I am going to share my screen, and as I'm talking about, enhancing your profile to make it ultra visible, I did get permission from Susan that we could use her profile as a sort of test case. So, all right, you can see my screen, right, Susan?
We can, absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. So, Susan has a fantastic profile, by the way. Really, I think everything that I'm about to share with everybody, you do a good job hitting the mark on it. There's one thing I might change, but
you can tell
let me just get into it. So, just like most online platforms, guess what? LinkedIn, people finding you on LinkedIn, your visibility on LinkedIn how high up you show when somebody does a search for somebody like you is all based on algorithms. I know, shocker, right? There are over 60 algorithms in LinkedIn, and some have more importance than others. I'm just going to hit on 3, maybe 4. I might have a bonus for you. So one of them is the number of connections that you have. It's just a fact. The more connections you have, the more visibility that you're going to get. So am I suggesting that everybody has to have 500 plus connections like Susan or myself? Absolutely not. But you want to aim for at least 50. And that's a minimum. Okay. And then you can incrementally set goals for yourself to increase that. So number of connections, it's just is what it is. The second one I want to talk about is keyword loading. Keywords, right? So this gets into the search engine optimization stuff. So keywords, it depends on what you do. Why are you on LinkedIn? It might be about if you're looking for a job, your keywords might be around your skills, your talents, your industries that you've played in, the titles that you've had, keywords that are relative to your industry. If you're in business, your keywords might have to do with attributes that your clients have, or, you know, again, maybe it's around licenses that you have, you're a professional. So the way that you keyword load on LinkedIn is in a variety of places. Most people know in their job experience to do that, right? Which is, whoops, this part here, the experience. But 2 awesome places to keyword load are your headline. So this is what I mean by your headline. Digital marketing strategists rise above the noise. Your headline is what appears right below your picture. Your headline, when somebody pulls up a search and 1,000 people pop up, all they see is your picture, your headline, and your, of course, I'm spacing right now, but they see your photo and they see your headline. So you want that headline to capture their attention. Your headline should have keywords in it. Your headline doesn't have to be your title and your company. People think that because LinkedIn defaults it. Guess what? If somebody wants to find your title and your company, you have that in your relevant experience so they can find you. Second thing, only because I know that we're on time. Second keyword loader, about. It is amazing how many people don't have their about section even visible on LinkedIn. And this is magic. You have 2,600 characters to work with in about. Look how much great information Susan shares with us about her expertise, but you can get personal. This is different than a resume. You can talk in terms of you can talk about your motivators. You can give people a sense of your style, your personality. So you can get a lot of information while chalk loading it with keywords. Third thing, in terms of keywords, is the relevant experience. I would tell you, of the 3 I just mentioned, headline and about, far supersede your job experience. The third tip, skills and endorsements. Another one that people underestimate. Sorry. Okay. Skills and endorsements. 1, do an inventory of what skills you have in there. Are they the skills that you want to attract the audience you want? If they're not, add them. Are there ones missing? If so, add them in. Are there ones to delete? Delete them out. But more importantly than the skills, get endorsements. Look at all the great endorsements Susan has for her great skills. I've endorsed Susan because I've worked with her. On your own profile, you'll be able to go out and ask people for endorsements. Number of endorsements ups your visibility. And the last bonus tip, because I said I'd do top 3, bonus tip, engagement. This is the 3 tips are about your profile, and there are more, but in the time that we have, those are my top 3. But if you really want to increase your visibility, in addition to enhancing your profile, be active on LinkedIn. What do I mean by that? Engage with other people's posts. And I don't just mean like their stuff, comment on it. create your own posts. It doesn't have to be, this big, huge, oh my gosh, change the world kind of post. You can share articles, you can share your blog, you can ask a curiosity question of other professionals. Engage, be part of groups. That's going to increase your visibility. So I feel like that was just like speed talking, but there's, again, I could talk about this forever and there's so much to share. Those are sort of the key things, I think.
So good. And I know that we're running short on time. Do you have a few minutes you can hang out for a little bit for a couple questions? So I have one question that says, can you say a little bit more about you mentioned about putting a little personality in the about section. Can you address that?
I can. So I think when I mean that, some of it maybe I might have meant style, right? It's about your authentic speaking voice. So what you're writing in your about section should be really feel authentic to the way that you would talk with people about yourself. It's your about section. And it's also the opportunity to really get in some language that you might not use on a more formal document like a resume. Like passionate is one that a lot of people want to stay away from on a resume, but they use it here. Your motivators. There's so much about who you are, adjectives that really describe you as a person, because fit, think about it, whether you want to network with somebody, whether you want somebody as a client, or whether you're trying to attract an employer, the fit in that relationship is really key, and the about section can start to give people a sense of who you are. I hope that helps.
I hope that helps. I have another question here.
Mm-hmm.
Can you address, you mentioned endorsements. Let's spend a minute or two talking about the difference between endorsements and recommendations.
Oh, great question.
Thank
That
you.
is a really good question. And yes, especially since, like I said, there's certainly more than 3 tips I could give, and recommendations is another one. I think the latest is aim for like 5 recommendations. Think of a recommendation, and I'll just scroll down on Susan's. Think about a LinkedIn recommendation almost like a reference. Okay, it's like a little mini reference, or a testimonial. Right? If you are a small business owner. So think about a recommendation as sort of a reference / testimonial. Endorsements are specific to individual skills that you have. So we can see here, Susan's got a plethora of skills, and notice that I had to see more. I should mention you control what the top 3 are that show up here. But with skills, with endorsements, you are looking to people to endorse you for a specific skill or set of skills that you really want to highlight. And by the way, people can just go and endorse you without you asking them. You have to have that setting turned on in your profile. But that's, and an endorsement literally is a click of the mouse. A recommendation is going to take somebody a little bit of time. An endorsement is click. And when somebody's in there endorsing you, guess what? If you say, Susan, if you go and you say, Kristen, would you go endorse me for social media marketing? I say, sure. While I'm in there, chances are I'm going to end up endorsing you for like 2 or 3 more skills too, that you didn't even ask me.
Because it gives you choices, right?
Yeah.
When you do that, it's like, does she also do search optimization? Does she also do email? Like, and you're
Exactly.
like, yep, does that. Yep, does that.
Yep. Yeah. Great question.
One of the things that you mentioned that caught my ear, because you know me well, and you'll understand this, is you're like, engage, have conversations, which is so important anywhere, right? It's called social media because you need to be social. But you had also mentioned, popping a post up in there. And a lot of people do share other people's posts, which is fantastic. I'm all about amplifying, but I want to remind people too about their own treasure chest of knowledge. And if you're ever stuck on what to write, like maybe at least once a week, make it so that put it on your calendar. Tuesdays at 8:15 in the morning, post on LinkedIn. And if you've done the exercise that I've talked about until you probably want to strangle me, but I'm going to put the link in the post anyway, on using your frequently asked questions, you will not get sidetracked and go down the rabbit hole of searching for something to write about. You are going to have your frequently asked questions in the repository that you've created, and you will know what to write about every Tuesday at 7:30 in the morning, and you won't have to, it will be so quick and easy. It will be like brushing your teeth. It's just going to be what you do. So I feel like we could talk about this forever. We should probably make a webinar, but I want to be mindful of everyone's time, and I want them to know where to find you and how to work with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple things. You mentioned a webinar, and guess what? I am holding 2 workshops in January on enhancing your LinkedIn profile, and I will be posting this week. I'll be posting the link to those workshops in Susan's on Susan's platforms, also on my own LinkedIn. So people can find me on LinkedIn. That's the #1 place people can find me. It's Kristen Tagliamonte, and I think I might be the only one. The other place people can find me, and I'd be happy to put it in the chat, is on my website, which is empoweredresultswithkat.com. And like I said, I'll stick that in the chat. On my website, there's a contact me where you can plop in your information, request a complimentary call with me. I also am, I am on Facebook. I have a business page on Facebook. I'm going to be honest. It's kind of like we were talking about before. I don't really live on Facebook with my business. So I certainly welcome you to like Empowered Results with KNT on Facebook, but you're going to see more on LinkedIn than you are on Facebook.
Perfect. And that makes all the sense, right?
One more thing with the webinar, with the workshop, sorry, that I'm doing in January. There'll be 2 of them. They're both an hour. I mean, they're the same workshop, just 2 options. People who come to my webinar will get a free one-on-one LinkedIn profile consult with me specific to their profile. So, because that's what I really love, is digging into an individual.
Wait, I'm not going to let you off the hook just yet. You said there was one suggestion for mine.
Your headline. Yeah, no, thank you. Your headline, right? It's digital marketing specialist, rise above the noise. My suggestion to you is you don't need the rise above the noise there.
Gotcha.
But you would benefit from having just a couple more keywords.
I'm on it.
More quality. I mean, again, it's fine the way it is. Your profile is amazing, Susan.
Awesome. Thank you. I've worked hard on it.
Sure.
Right? I've taken the advice of all the amazing people in my community, in the Rise Above Noise community, who help us through all of these things. And that's what I love about it. We have Kristen's been in the Rise Together digital marketing mastermind for quite some time too. And the magic that happens of putting the hive mind together to, tweak each other's content, right? Or to say, hey, I noticed I was amplifying for you and I noticed such and such, and I'd love to see you do whatever. It's just been magical. So find Kristen on LinkedIn. I'll put the link to her LinkedIn profile in the comments, and sign up for her workshops in January, because then you get a free LinkedIn profile consult with Kristen. And look what she's done in just 20 minutes with us. Can you imagine like working one-on-one with her for a half hour? So Kristen, I'm so excited and glad that you took the time with me here today. I can't wait.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
You're making a real difference in people's lives, right? You're taking away that stress of worrying. Did I do it right? Did I not do it right? How do I find my next job? Am I, should I just stay where I am? And giving them the confidence to know that they can move forward and answer the what ifs. We started with your what ifs, and you're helping people go look at the what ifs. So I honor you, and I'm so grateful for you to be here.
Well, you're so welcome. And again, thank you for having me. It was so much fun.